or at all. The word gaslighting probably isn't new to you. You pretty much know it's a manipulative tactic used by people who essentially want to get you to doubt your own reasoning, right? But this year I've noticed there's 5 new ways that a man will gaslight you. And because nobody's talking about it, a lot of times it works. But if you've ever been in a relationship where you felt more frustrated than you did fulfilled, or maybe even after the relationship, you felt like, hold on, why did I do that? Why did I go for that? Why did I believe that? Why did I give him this many chances? And it's not like you're questioning if you felt a connection, or if you had faith in the relationship, if you believe, like, of course we understand that. But if you're like, in your sober mind, you're looking back and saying, why did I ever allow him to get away with that? That doesn't even make sense. More than likely, you got caught by one of the new ways that a man will gaslight. Because we all know gaslighting, is in the form of, oh, you tripping and you crazy. Like we pretty much know what that is. Well, if you've been following me for a little while. But again, the game has changed. The game is ever evolving. Y'all, there are new ways that men are out here gaslighting. So first off, let me just see if I'm talking to anybody real quick. Have you ever been in a relationship where it felt like the only way to keep the peace was for you to keep your silence? I won't even say peace, because if you're keeping the peace at the expense of your needs being expressed, that's just a war on the inside that you're fighting alone now. But put I down in the chat if you ever felt so frustrated in a relationship, or you got to a point where it seemed like the relationship. I think I went out for a second, but real quick, put I down in the chat if in a relationship it felt like the only way to keep y'all from arguing or to keep you from feeling depleted was for you to stop acknowledging things that were not right, that did not feel right. Like, let me just not even say nothing, because every single time I say something, he always gets, or we always get. And just to not have that argument or that dynamic or that clash, you started being more quiet and more silent on things. Maybe you started like kind of pushing these issues to other people around you, which isn't always bad, but you knew you could not come to him. Put I down in the chat. Or if you ever left a relationship and you look back at it like, hold on, I'm so much smarter than that. I'm so much smarter than that. Not like something where a man like really went to the ends of the earth to trick you and he got over on you. But like, you look back at a relationship, you're like, these were the dumbest things I believed from him or I ignored from him. These weren't like super scientific. And you look back and you're like, you just can't make sense of how you and all your intelligence believed anything this man was saying when it was the dumbest lies. Put I down in the chat if you've ever been there. Okay. Because again, a lot of y'all know the basis of gaslighting. And for those who don't, I'll give you kind of a quick, a little review. Gaslighting originated, I think it was first talked about in a film in 1944. It was originally a play, then it became a film, and it was called Gaslight, I think the name of it, where the husband, he would dim the gaslighting electricity in the home and then tell the wife, like, nothing's changed. He would dim it and then act like nothing changed. So that's where the term comes from. So a lot of people, they essentially think that gaslighting is essentially anything that's dishonest, anything that's a lie is gaslighting. No, it's not. And I'm not here to like downplay it. In fact, I want to let you know there's a fundamental difference in dishonesty and gaslighting, in which in gaslighting, it's literally training you. It's training you to doubt your intuition. It's training you to disconnect from your intuition. So for those of y'all who you get to doubting your intuition, your common sense, your ability to reason, and this doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a repetition. There's a very malevolent, malicious, and dishonest intention. So real quick, if you just catch a guy up, right, and he lies and say he didn't do it or he denies it, that's just a lie. That's just dishonesty. But when a man holds the truth in his mind, and on the little things on up to the big things, he continuously over time will act like he didn't do anything wrong, play dumb, play stupid, twist things around. That man is now gaslighting you. He's now rewiring your infrastructure on a fundamental basis so that he doesn't really have to lie to you anymore. Now, anytime that you peep the truth, you're immediately going to negate it, invalidate it, question it. That's why it's important to understand what gaslighting truly is. It's happening on a fundamental level, not just on a case-by-case level. But I'm gonna give you one example of when a man is gaslighting, and it's a new way that it's happening. It's future faking. So if you've ever been in a situation where God was like, oh, one day I want to have this, one day I want to have that. And then you notice that the progression of the relationship is not happening according to that. Like nothing is correlative. Nothing is going on where, you guys are actually taking steps towards monogamy. But he's sitting there telling you, I need me a woman like you in my life that I can settle down with, that I can trust, that I can have babies with, that I can build a legacy with. So he's saying one thing, right? Doing another, which of course is just misalignment. However, what it's meant to do is to get you to say, hold on. Am I really thinking too much into it? I mean, he's saying that he wants a future with me. He's saying that he wants a family with me. So surely I'm tripping. I'm crazy. You see how the new way of gaslighting is not the man saying these things, but to get you to start saying it to yourself? Because that's the thing that you're not going to question as easily. You're going to question if it comes from him saying you're crazy. But whenever you say, I'm crazy, I'm tripping, I'm thinking too much into it, now he doesn't actually have to overtly express these things because the external dialogue became internal dialogue. Is that making sense to anybody? Put I down in the chat if I'm making sense to you. If I'm making sense to you, put I down in the chat. So he'll future fake. He'll say what he wants. He'll articulate it. It'll be beautiful. He'll express it. He'll verbalize it. Meanwhile, he finds every reason in the book, every excuse in the book to halt progress towards that, to realize it, to actually move towards that. Nothing's actually moving towards it. That's a form of gaslighting. So now whenever you say, hey, like, what are we doing here? Hey, I already told you. I already talked to you about it. I already let you know what I wanted. I made my intentions clear. No, you didn't. You muddied the waters with misaligned actions. Your words said one thing, but your pattern said another. And we know patterns speak the truth. But again, the gaslighting is meant to rewire your confidence in what you are seeing and perceiving is true. It's meant to have you invalidated from the inside out to get what he wants. Absolutely. Another way that a man will gaslight you, and it's a new way of gaslighting now. I say new, and I'm not saying it's literally just starting to happen, by the way. I'm saying this is a new way in terms of, one, is more popular. Two, is something a lot of people aren't talking about, and that's mirroring. You guys got to be very mindful, not just what you express on the very first date or conversation about what you've been through and what you want, but also what you put on social media. What a man will do is mirror either your pain, your experiences, as a way to falsify kind of a connection. To now, it's kind of like he wants to contrive a connection to what you've been through by saying exactly what he knows that you've been through or what he knows that you want, even though it's inauthentic to his truth. Because now, in feeling like you've been empathized with, everything that he says, you're going to give benefit of the doubt that he does not deserve. And so now as things are happening, it's like, hold on, I'm not dealing with somebody who doesn't get me. I'm not dealing with somebody who's a real stranger. I'm dealing with somebody who's been through the exact same things, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm crazy. Whenever he does something to me that he knows he wouldn't want done to him, maybe I'm tripping for how I feel about it because he has been through the exact same thing. So if he tells you, you got all of these different posts, or you done told him in the first date, I was lied to, I was cheated on, I was betrayed, I was this, I was that. And he may even beat you to the punch if he sees this stuff on your social media. Be very mindful. Or if you put it on social media, just have a keen ear to if you hear him repeat the exact same thing. So now you done told him all of this or let him know all of this, right? Y'all go through a situation where, I don't know, maybe something doesn't look right. He's hiding his phone. And you're thinking to yourself, well, he already knows how it feels to be lied to. He already knows how it feels to be tricked and duped. He already knows that. And so he'll say that to you. Come on now, you know I would never. I already told you how many times I've been lied to. I already told you how my ex-girl, man, she cheated on me with her sister and they was in the back seat of my mama's car, just like you. Why would I do that to you? And he'll use this to flip around on you because he's already connected with you emotionally to draw that really literally out of thin air, draw that connection to what you've been through so that empathy gives him undeserved emotional authority. So the gaslighting now comes from you questioning because what's going to happen is you're going to say, how could he possibly do this knowing what I've been through, and he's been through it too. That's the gaslighting part. It's now starting to get you to doubt your own intuition. Wait, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Because he's just like me, and then clearly. Another new way a man will gaslight you is into turning your expressed needs into extremes. Basically, treating it like all or nothing. I actually saw this in, what was it? Love is Blind? I forget the guy's name, but it was a brother with the twisties or braids or whatever. He was like a principal or something like that. And the sister was saying, hey, I feel like since we've gotten here, you've just been on your phone. You haven't been really giving me any time or attention. Your energy is different. And I literally watched it with my own eyes. I'm like, wow, I get editing and stuff like that. I'm like, he's really on his phone. He's totally blocked her out. He's in his own bubble. And what he did was he turned her express need into an extreme. This is how it looks. She says, hey, I need you to give me more attention. I feel like you're not giving me any attention. Well, you act like I'm 24/7 supposed to be up under you. Just because I'm not all bubbly and spending every single waking moment with you doesn't mean I don't care about you. Y'all get how that's an extreme? And so what the extreme does is it now pulls you out of whatever it is that you were expressing and into clarifying and defending a point that didn't need any clarification or defending to begin with. You were valid from the very beginning, but it invalidates you because now it robs you of the space you were creating for what you had expressed to him. And now he's made you allocate that towards how you're communicating or miscommunicating or looking too much into it or wanting too much. And that's on the good end because the real gaslighting happens if you buy into that you are doing this extreme. Man, maybe I am asking for him to spend every single waking moment, and that's unrealistic of a woman to ask a man. So you'll also get this. This is also the exact same thing that happens whenever as a woman you say, hey, I need time made for us. I don't feel like we're spending any time. We're not going on any dates. You just don't want me to work at all? You just want me to just quit my job? How am I supposed to earn money? You act like I ain't supposed to. And he'll go to an extreme. Now he's pitted you against the extreme that he's created, not against what you've actually said. Now, where's the gaslighting? The gaslighting is in the malicious oblivion, the malicious playing dumb, the malicious playing stupid, like he didn't understand exactly what you said, or what you said is unreasonable. This making sense to anybody? Because I know as we talk about new concepts, or at least new levels of this concept, it may not catch, but if you've ever been in a situation where you were asking a guy for something very reasonable, very, very normal in healthy relationships, but he twisted it into an extreme, related but extreme, that you were not saying. And now the entire conversation became about you trying to get him to understand that wasn't an extreme, or the conversation ends with you now being in belief that, man, maybe I am asking for an extreme. Because I'm not used to a guy like this. I'm different. Does that make sense to you, Janet? Good. Vivian? Good. He killed your income and they told you he was a gold digger? Gaslighting. Another form of gaslighting that's new, I don't think we talk about enough, is when a man will leverage his good deeds to erase his sins. Now, God will wipe away your sins if you repent. And we all fall short of the glory of God. But here's the thing. I ain't God, you ain't God. Okay? You ain't wiping away nobody's sins. You ain't God, the same God that wiped away your sins also said you reap what you sow. And so, with that being said, if you couple it all together, even if you are a Bible-believing woman, etc., any man that tries to get you to wipe away his sins because he's done something good is gaslighting you. The two can coexist. How does this look like in a relationship? And put I down in the chat if you've ever been there. You call a guy out on something wrong. He immediately switches direction or switches the attention to what he's done right that you ain't acknowledged. Put I down in the chat. You say, hey, you was flirting with this girl and like, what the fuck is this? Hold on, man. I pay the bills. I come home every day. I blink every day. I drink water every day. And all you want to talk about is that I flirted with a girl on social media? That I'm in her DMs? Put I down in the chat if that even sounds remotely similar to something you've ever been through. That's, again, a guy is trying to leverage the good that he does, and now he's trying to switch the attention to you not being appreciative or you not being vocal enough on the good, but only for the purpose of negating his bad. Now, I am one. I always tell women, like, hey, if you got a man who's handling his business, holding it down, express that, affirm him. Men need that too. I'm a man, I get it. I'm not against my brothers. In fact, I'm for the ones that deserve the women like you guys who are actually putting in the work to be the best versions of yourselves. But no man just, needs to exist without hearing how his value is valuable. However, be very mindful when a man is using that maliciously to gaslight you into invalidating what it is you have a problem with. Because how this trains you? This trains you to, at some point, as you're acknowledging something is hurting you, or something isn't right, or something makes you uncomfortable, or something compromises your safety, it trains you now to say, let me silence myself and just look at the good. Let me turn away, let me turn a blind eye to the ways that he can love me better and look at the bare minimum that he's doing. I'll be real with you. It's very rare that there's all good or all bad to any man. It's very rare. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even wanted to entertain him. If he was all bad, you would have said, you know what, I'm not attracted to this. I'm cool on this. I don't feel safe in this. So if you have somebody that looks at the good and says, okay, automatically, that's the only thing that's allowed to exist, or else you're not being appreciative. You're not being affirming. Especially knowing that as a woman, that's what you also need. You need somebody who will affirm you consistently, not think that yesterday's affirmation counts for today's encouragement. The gaslighting is not just a dishonesty. It's not just a lie or, deception. It's also a willfully playing dumb, willfully playing stupid in order to get you to not necessarily be stupid, but to negate your common sense, disconnect you from your intuition when you know this ain't right, especially if you can't put words to it. So here's the thing about a person who's really skilled at this. They've already thought this through. They've thought through the levels of it. They've done it for years. They've done it through many people. And so what they'll do, and I actually see this on podcasts happen a lot, when people want to win a debate, they'll get somebody who hasn't thought through these concepts. Now, they done wrote it down, cross-referenced it, et cetera, et cetera. But they get somebody who's their very first time encountering this, jump on you, you don't have the words to defend yourself, and now you feel like by default you're wrong. Put I down in the chat if this even sounds remotely familiar. Because again, it is not the case by case in the moment, he's lying. No. Sometimes people use gaslighting as a word to just kind of trump up the charges. So, to further validate how they feel about him lying. But there's a stark difference. And if you don't understand the difference, you will not just catch somebody in lie and correct them. Catch somebody in lie and say, oh, that's not it. You'll now get trained out of your intuition, and then it'll create a pattern of people that you can't discern who to trust and who not to trust. One more way, because I'm about to go in here and work out. One more way that a man will gaslight you, and it's a new way I haven't heard many people talk about as far as gaslighting. But if he continuously picks one sentence to focus on, whenever you send him a message and say, hey, I feel like this, and this, because a lot of y'all communicate better whenever you write it down or you type it out. That way your emotions have a chance to settle. That way you have a chance to kind of look back over it and make sure that you were clear on what you were trying to say. Cool. But when he picks that one sentence to focus on, even if he is accurate in what he's saying about that sentence, what it does is it oversimplifies what you said. So now, one, you're discouraged from saying anything else. Two, again, it brings you into whatever battle he wants you to be on, because he doesn't want to really dignify what it is that you feel. And eventually over time, it makes you say, I don't even want to bring nothing to him. I don't even want to say anything to him. I don't want to express my needs. So he's picking that one sentence out of a 4-page letter to either, even if he hyper focuses on that, but a lot of times what will happen is he will twist it to mean something completely different. Of course, that one sentence by itself and without context has a completely different meaning. But it's, again, about control. Any manipulator, that's their number one goal. I need to control this. It's not about fairness. It's not about engaging. It's not about meeting you halfway. It's not about stepping up to the plate. It's not about growing. A manipulator's number one goal is to control. And what a manipulator wants to do is he wants to control you at the mental level. If he can control your mind, Oh, he can control your decision making. He can control everything that you do. He can control who you talk to. So I knew he was gaslighting. You confirmed it for me. I know I've been reasonable. Absolutely, Vanessa. And if you dealt with somebody who gaslit you long enough, again, it'll spill over into your new relationships. In both ways, you'll get with a guy who's amazing, who's forthcoming. Maybe he makes a mistake or something like that, but you won't know what to trust. You won't know how to let him in. You won't know what to believe. Even if he is saying something you don't agree with, you'll immediately just say, I gotta protect myself because you have not yet understood the concept of gaslighting. And then on the other end, you won't know what to believe, so a manipulator will come in and have a much easier time with you. Now, let me tell you this. Giving, or should I say overgiving, benefit of the doubt is one of the 5 nice girl habits that will get you taken for granted. And I've seen this happen over and over again because a lot of y'all, you believe in love, you want love, you know that you're deserving of love, so you take that in, and then you may overgive somebody benefit of the doubt that they're clearly showing you they do not deserve. It's one of the 5 nice girl habits that will get you played. And I went in depth in that in my master class, the types of women that men always regret losing. If you missed that, I'll put the link down. Matter of fact, I already see it. Thank you, moderators. The link is right here at the bottom, or if you're on YouTube, it's at the top. Because we cover like 7 to 8 different categories in that one master class. Probably the most in-depth masterclass I've ever done. And it's absolutely free, by the way, at the link. Should be pinned somewhere at the bottom or the top, depending on where you're watching this. But when you give benefit of the doubt, whenever you go off the hope and you go off the faith that God got something good coming for you, and then you immediately project that into the next person and shows you some kind of signs that this may be the answered prayer, you end up being the nice girl that gets played with. Because you don't want to be the one that's scorned and bitter and not able to trust and just like these other women who got their guard up too high, making the next man pay for the last man mistakes. No. You're not making a man pay for the last man mistakes. You see patterns that you've seen before and you ain't going. Especially if you give benefit of the doubt, he does something to lose it. Yeah, you definitely want to know the nice. If you've been the nice girl that's gotten taken for granted, again, there's usually 5 habits I've seen. I went in depth on the masterclass, by the way, and I also talked about other things, but signs that your ex wants you back, all kind of stuff. If you click that link, it'll take you to the masterclass. You can watch it right after this. Moral of the story is this. Gaslighting is not just dishonesty. Dishonesty is bad enough. Betrayal is bad enough. If you are in the presence of a gaslighter, it is much more dangerous to your psyche, to your confidence, to your self-esteem, to how you date, who you date, the standards that you have in which you date. Because now the very place that you came from and how you discerned who was worth your time, who can meet your standards, has now been compromised by that gaslighter. Don't sleep. And if you got anything of value from this, make this louder by hitting the share button. If you believe in the truth and you feel like you've heard it here, all I ask is that you spread it by hitting that share button. Don't cost you nothing. And again, if you want access to the masterclass, the types of women that men always regret losing, click the link down at the bottom. Again, more free game, about, almost an hour where I went in. Much more than I just went in just now. But I'm your internet big brother trying to look out for you per usual. Hopefully I was able to help somebody. And again, if I have, pay it forward by hitting that share button. I'll holler at y'all.